Well, hello, and thank you for joining me for another Alex on Tech and iTWireTV interview. I'm joined today by Luke Thomas. He's the Area Vice President for the APAC region at Appian. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
Thank you for taking the time. Now, I've had the pleasure of speaking with Appian's CEO and co-founder Matt Calkins on a couple of occasions, and I'll link those articles and videos to the article that accompanies this video. But for those who aren't as familiar with Appian as they should be, can you please recap Appian and its low-code platform and what the company offers to the market in 2022?
Sure, happy to. Well, look, I'll probably start by saying business is changing faster than ever. And I think COVID in the last 2 years are really, I guess, exacerbated that point to some degree. And really, organizations need to be more responsive to customer demands. They need to operate in a more efficient manner. And obviously, they need to support, I guess, their constituents and also their shareholders and to drive the appropriate profits for the organization. And business in this day and age need to be able to change and adapt as quickly as possible. Now, if I was to summarize Appian is a platform for change. It brings together process mining with workflow as well as automation to provide that single unified capability to support process in an organization. And really, it's that full end-to-end spectrum of process. So everything from discovery through to design, and then ultimately those automation functions. But we do it in, I guess, a somewhat unique way. We really embrace a concept called low-code. And for those that may not be familiar with the concept of low-code, really what it is that it brings human intuitivity to application development. So, rather than writing code per se, really what it does is it enables you to use a mouse to build your applications. So to draw a process, to, pick components off a palette, to orchestrate a user interface. But the benefits associated with low code is really it enables you to build new applications, to augment existing, legacy or systems of record. Or put a digital overlay on top of those existing systems and bring relevant information, contextual information to individuals. But by doing it in a low-code manner, you tend to see that the development cycle is 10 to 20 times faster than traditional methods of development. So really that embraces that ability to innovate, to drive, adapt and to change. And, in short, that unified platform is a new way of building applications.
Now, Appian recently announced the general availability of Appian process mining. So what is this? How does it compare to robotic process automation? And how does it enhance the low-code platform?
I do recall, I think it was roughly the middle of the year, I think you had that interview with Matt Calkins, and I had the privilege of watching the video as well. And I seem to recall you did ask a question at the time around robotic process automation, RPA, and in effect its relevance, in recent times. And, Matt spoke about in the first instance that it absolutely is relevant in this day and age. But we would view it as a means to an end. It's not an end in itself, it's a means. And what he meant by that was, robotic process automation is fantastic in taking sort of repetitive process and automating it using digital workers, bots. But if the process that you're automating is a bad process in the first instance, then, in effect, what you're doing is you're just making a bad process go faster. And, what's important to sort of take a step back is and reflect on how do you improve process if it happens to be not optimized. And that's really where the workflow capability of Appian comes into play. And hence that workflow with RPA is a really strong combination. I'd probably express process automation, process mining in much the same vein. It's an absolute important imperative in organizations. If you don't know your processes, then it makes it very difficult to continue to improve. And really, that's what process automation is really about. It's about the ability to reflect and gather insights and information into your existing process in your organisation, the as-is state, for a lack of a better word, and then really interrogate that information to identify where there might be inefficiencies in your business or in your organisation. And that sort of brings us back to sort of the analogy that we were talking about beforehand. Once again, process mining is very much a means. If you've got an inefficient, you've got a process that really isn't addressing your challenges, your business challenges, as efficiently as what you would expect, bottlenecks, for example. If you don't act on that challenge, and therefore what you're doing is you're really being impeded in getting those efficiencies in your business. So once again, that sort of comes back to the I'll term the middle piece, that workflow capability, the ability to sort of take those insights but then action those insights within your organization. And really it sort of completes a continuum around that process life cycle, from that discovery piece, understanding where the challenges are in the organizations, through to the workflow piece, the ability to reorchestrate and improve on process and iterate on process innovation, and then use the automation capability to automate and improve efficiency. So whether that be robotic process automation or artificial intelligence or business rules, various other automation tools. But really, process automation is a really exciting extension of the unified platform, and we're really looking forward to its growth within the market.
Yeah, absolutely. And, sometimes you do have to take a step back and get a different perspective on things, so that you're not doing the same things in the same old ways, and you are introducing new capabilities, but doing it in a smart way that delivers tangible benefits and, a quick return on investment. How do companies implement the process mining capability within their business? Presumably, they'll already be or will soon to become Appian customers. But how long does it take them to investigate what they're doing? And it's different for every company, of course, but is there sort of a timeline that helps companies to kickstart their way into the process mining reality?
Yeah, very good question. So, the first thing I'll say is not all processes are, I would suggest, ideal candidates for process mining. There are certain processes that are more akin to really extracting value out of a tool such as a process mining tool. And, we're always akin within Appian to ensure that any of our customers that make investments into the Appian platform are indeed getting a return on that investment. So the approach we're seeking to take with our customers in the marketplace is, and you mentioned the word kickstart, is exactly that. It's Appian's process mining kickstart, where within our Appian customer success organisation, we provide you access to some of our expert consultants to come into your organisation and do a discovery piece, for a lack of a better word, to delve into what are those candidate processes, which ones are fit for purpose, and then to go through the exercise of understanding the information around the processes, structuring the data so that the information can be extracted, and importantly, there can be insights into that data. One of the real benefits of Appian process mining versus sort of more traditional methods of process mining is we sort of turn on the head the typical efforts that are involved in going from data to insight and ultimately action. And a typical process mining project may take 70 to 80% of your efforts just to extract the logs, to review the logs, get the data in a structure so that it can be actually move on to an insight and a review cycle, so that you can actually act on that information, which typically might be 20 to 30% of effort. With Appian process mining, we've flipped that the other way, and through our innovation and experience around LowCode, we're able to embrace some of those approaches, and therefore the actual data preparation work is a much smaller portion, 20 to 30% of the effort, versus the actual analysts analysing and interpretation of that information. So look, for anyone that may be interested in the concept of process mining, Appian Kickstart is a great way to get up and running, and off the back of it, you'll have all the data points in place around what insights are available, and then ultimately, more importantly, how you act on those insights and recommendations on options to act on those insights.
Now, as far as I'm aware, Appian is the creator of the low code concept. So, where does Appian sit in the evolving low code market today? And where is the future of low code heading? And what makes Appian's low code offering in 2022 different?
It's a great question. We were at the forefront of low code from the very beginning of this organisation, and we continue to innovate and lead the marketplace. Look, it's interesting even just to take an observation on the low code market in the first instance. One of the things we're observing is maybe a lot of those traditional legacy BPM vendors that have been around for 20, 30 years are rebranding themselves as low code, but their underlying capability and architecture really is 20, 30-year-old technology. And this is really important because there's a lot of vendors that are popping up into the low code space. If I talk about the market more broadly, we're seeing sort of some of those niche players. And I think we'll expect to see more of those sort of organizations that, I made reference to the means to an end beforehand, looking to acquire or merge with other organizations so that they do have the ability to provide that end-to-end process capability from discover, design, and then through to automate. And what's the reason behind that? Well, the reason is that the market is growing at an exponential pace. I think it was Gartner that made the reference that by, 2024, 65% of all companies will be primarily building their applications in a low-code method, whereas right now, and probably say 12 months ago, it was more around the 23% mark. So we're seeing absolute, exponential growth in the marketplace. And what does that mean for business? Well, what it means for business is that if you're not embracing low-code as a core methodology in your organization, then if your competitor is not doing it, I can assure you they'll be doing it into the not too distant future. So there's a step change occurring in the industry that it's becoming broad spread and embraced. Now, if I talk about Appian as an organization, we certainly aren't going to rest on our laurels of innovation, and we're going to continue to invest into the platform. So we're doing things around, how do we continue to improve the rapid pace of development? How do we get beyond 10 to 20 times faster? Some of the things we're bringing to the platform now, for example, that's going to support that is how do we embed artificial intelligence into that development cycle? How do we enable developers or practitioners on the Appian platform that as they're going through and building those applications, the Appian platform can preempt what that next step may be and preempt, elements of those activities. So, it's certainly an exciting marketplace to be a part of right now.
Now, you're in charge of the APAC region. Are there any new customer success stories from the region that you'd like to highlight?
Good question. Look, there's always, new customers coming on board. One that probably comes to mind right now, really that brings to bear, I guess, the speed and the power of a platform like Appian was a sovereign government agency within the Southeast Asian region reached out to our teams in this particular story. They reached out on a Tuesday, and the reason they reached out was they were seeing a rapid spike in the number of COVID cases within this particular country, and their contact center was really struggling with managing the volume of the calls that were coming in, and managing things like PCR, rat testing, the ability to isolate, to trace, to just manage in a concerted effort the various elements of managing the COVID outbreak. And they came to us with a challenge. They really required to to automate their processes to be able to manage this workload. And they came to us on a Tuesday, but they gave us a challenge, and they asked whether we could get something solved within 7 days, within a week. So we met on the Tuesday. They told the challenge. On the Wednesday, we built a mock-up of the solution. On the Thursday, we showed the customer the prototype and got the green head to move forward. We contracted on the Friday. We started the actual the development build on the Saturday, and we went into production the following Tuesday. So it just goes to show the speed and the power of the platform when you sort of combine the core capability with the innovative agile type approaches that you can really embrace with something like Appian, for example. It's a great story.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's probably a record in how quickly an app can be brought to market, and just a sign of the sophistication and maturity of today's technology. If this had happened 20 years ago, we wouldn't have had Zoom, we wouldn't have had today's smartphones. It would have been a very different pandemic for us all. So incredible to see technology. So. Yeah. So look, I always like to ask the people I'm interviewing, what is a little bit about your own history in the world of tech that led you to Appian?
Yeah, so I've been in, I guess, technology industry for 20 plus years. I've always really enjoyed being a part of, changing business or innovation within organisations leveraging technology. And I'll sort of look back on, the elements of my start of my career, and it's always been about helping organisations understand and then embrace that innovation. And it's almost embarrassing to say, but I remember talking to customers 20 odd years ago about moving from client server to web applications, for example, and how that changed, I guess, the way that business could be responsive to, once again, changes and drive innovation within their industries. That sort of evolved into the service-oriented architecture market and concepts around composite applications and more loosely coupled components and what that meant for organizations, once again, about driving flexibility, supporting business requirements. And it's just fascinating to sort of see how fast technology changes. I remember by sort of the late 2000s, the concepts of web applications and service-oriented architecture almost in the dustbin of legacy capabilities, right? And then I sort of evolved into software as a service, which I know is a very prevalent, architecture that a lot of organisations are embracing. But Appian came along, and when you talk about low code, when you can bring the best of sort of custom applications, but with the speed and the power of software as a service, it's just such a compelling proposition. I thought it was a great opportunity to be, once again, sort of working with customers and teams to help organisations embrace innovation and technology to compete for advantage effectively.
Yeah. Now, you've also spoken about the growing opportunity in the market, and for low code, Gartner's predictions, it's meant to be the Asian century, with the Asia Pacific with the youngest population. So what more can you tell us about the growth opportunities over the next couple of years and through the rest of this decade?
Yeah, so once again, business is growing strongly. I think within this Asia Pacific region, our business grew in triple digits in the last 12 months. And I'm expecting, continued strong growth for years to come. We're going to continue to invest in building out our team so that we can support more and more customers in embracing the concepts of, intelligent automation, having that unified platform for change. And whether that be around our growth investments into sort of the Southeast Asian region, and obviously more locally here in Australia, we're looking to sort of take an industry-centric approach to supporting organisations and how do they understand what innovation we're seeing globally from an industry perspective, and then how do they seek to embrace that within their organisations. So, locally within the region, I think we grew by about a third on headcount last year, and we'd expect growth in excess of that this year. So, and it's exciting times. Obviously, there's always challenges with the speed and the rapid growth that's happening, but this is what technology is all about, is being a part of that innovation cycle, and certainly it's an exciting time within the Appian business within the Asia Pacific region.
Yeah. Now, my second last question, as we get towards the end of the interview, is always to ask, what is some of the best advice that you've received in life that you can share that's helped you get to where you are today?
Look, I'm going to make a comment which I'm sure there'll be people watching going, it's a motherhood statement or it's a bit cliche, but I do genuinely believe it. I think it's the customer always has to be at the centre of absolutely everything. The growth of our business comes out of the success our customers have, and we're fortunate that our customers are our best advocates. They'll talk to prospective customers and tell the story that they've gone on. It's all fair and well. Our teams talk about these sorts of things, but at the end of the day, when they hear it from other organisations that have gone on that journey, it's more relevant, I guess. Customer centricity is really important because ultimately, if I can't and my team can't help an organisation extract value out of the investments they make out of the platform, well, it doesn't matter how good your technology is, you're not going to grow. So, look, that's probably something I take to heart, and we certainly make an effort to ensure that we can help customers, I guess, extract the greatest value in the lowest risk profile possible, and that's sort of it's kept me in good stead over the years, and certainly something I'm proud to put at the centre of my career, I guess, in that respect.
Yeah, well, I mean, customers can be a great source of R&D and great ideas and things that they want to have implemented to solve pain points that they're having with either their own processes or with the environment they're using. And I guess making sure that customers are at the heart of business is a better way of saying that the customer is always right, because sometimes for whatever reason they're not, but clearly they're having some sort of problem, and it's up to companies to be able to solve that. And yeah.
Absolutely, and one of the great things about Appian as a platform is you're not going and buying necessarily a four-wall square box, right? Things can be very malleable, and it's just fascinating to see the sorts of ways that they take a canvas like Appian and the sort of innovation they can drive off the back of it, which would be unthinkable at certain times, right? They're the ones that are at the coalface of it. I know one of our financial services customers here within Australia built a loan origination platform in 10 weeks. Now, I can assure you that there's many organisations that have probably gone on a journey of 12, 24 months on a project like that, and it's just great to see them come up with the concepts, come up with the ideas, and then use a tool like Appian to create reality. So yeah, I agree with you very much so.
Yeah, well, I mean, if digital acceleration has meant the rapid adoption of all these cloud technologies and online services, I mean, companies have to be nimble and agile and digitally accelerate their own ability to deliver something. I mean, 12 to 24 months in the modern world, I mean, that's a couple of iPhone generations or Samsung generations. It's just too long. I mean, 10 weeks sounds about the kind of time you want to spend at most to get something up and running and implemented, so you can rapidly iterate on it and improve it, because the first version is never the last version. It's just the one that was good enough to get out there, and then you're rapidly iterating on top of that.
That first version that you came up with, I can assure you your market and your customers have moved on, probably 3 or 4 or 5 times by 12, 24 months. And if you're not adapting your processes in an agile method to, sort of bring out new products to market, or to innovate, or to capture a new market, or to respond to a particular competitive threat, then once again, no doubt there'll be people in the market that will. So yeah, it's just fascinating to see that sort of mindset change that we're seeing in recent times.
Yeah, well, 10 weeks to an MVP or a minimum viable product is way better than 2 years.
far and away. It's fascinating.
So, look, what is your final message to iTWireTV viewers and iTWire readers, and to your current and future customers and partners?
Well, look, firstly, thanks for having us. It's always great to have a conversation, and it's an exciting market we're involved in. So, I guess my message would be is, don't to the broader audience is, change is exciting. It was the reason I moved into technology, and no doubt it's the reason a lot of people have moved into the technology space, to be a change agent and to be embracing change. And I think there's certainly great opportunities for those that are willing to innovate, and we certainly see Appian as a key component of that innovation cycle. So certainly, if there's any point that those people out there feel that they're interested in understanding a bit more about how that could support their business, certainly happy to connect you with one of our industry consultants and have a chat around those sorts of things. But I certainly appreciate the time to connect, Alex, and have a chat.
Well, thank you very much, Luke Appian, the Area Vice President of the APAC region at Appian. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope we can talk again in the future.
I do too. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you. Bye-bye.